Hunting's hard. That's why foraging is important. Some intelligent techniques applied by native hunters include a lot of highly organized group hunts, wherein deer were herded across the landscape into choke points where ambushes were laid. Decoys were also commonly used, and hunters would dress as deer with taxidermied heads and all, enabling them to get close for a bow shot. Don't recommend that for modern hunters, though. Some complex herbal preparations were made into deer attractants, thought to mimic deer pheromones. One almost universal strategy was to abstain from eating meat, grease, fish, and salt, eating only wild plant foods for 3 days prior to a hunt. This changed the hunter's body scent, making them smell like an herbivore to a deer's extremely sensitive nose, allowing the hunter to get very close without warning the deer. They would set up simple ambushes behind a wall blind and make shots from as close as 20 feet. Despite these highly developed skills, historically among hunter-gatherers, most hunts still failed. That's why a more stable plant food source base was crucial. That's also why hunters always shared their harvests with the community. Among Indigenous North Americans, there were typically very transparent regulation of what parts of a deer went to whom, with the hunter's immediate family, in-laws, and the elderly usually receiving the choicest portions. But if a deer was obtained, no one in the community would be left out of its eating. A boy was never allowed to eat any of his first kill. He owed it to the community who raised him. Generosity was one of the highest status markers in these societies because a good hunter shares. That's a concept behind potlatches of Athabascan peoples where wealthy hosts would compete to give gifts, thus increasing their status through generosity. Now compare that to many high-status individuals in modern Western culture where flaunting hoarded wealth is common. So anyway, I've been trying to find a new hunting area and I went to a new location this past weekend. I found this cool fallen tree that gave an excellent elevated vantage point with plenty of hog sign around. And I spent 5 hours in this tree hoping to spot a deer or hog, but no luck. But the forest around me was full of edibles nonetheless. There were pecans, walnuts, acorns, hackberries, greenbrier tips and roots, nettle foliage, and other immediately edible wild plants. So unless carefully curated, a healthy diet should include animal products for important nutritional resources. Venison is one of the most nutritious foods available, and in most wild areas of the US, deer are overpopulated because of historical extirpation and persecution of predators such as wolves, bears, and pumas, which formerly covered the country. Unfortunately, Texas has very few public hunting lands where one can shoot deer, and most harvests in the state are done from modern blinds in front of corn feeders. I respect the harvest efficiency and do both, but the gamble of a more traditional hunt is a bit more fun to me.